Beautiful bloom, sensational foliage, exquisite scent, and marvelous form are only a few of the things that make a garden sing. Wim Vander Zalm grew up in the gardening business, surrounded by plants and their people. He is a frequent guest on radio. He owns and operates 2 ArtNap Plantland locations. It is my pleasure to welcome hands-on garden man Wim Vander Zalm back to Studio 4 to tell us more.
Hi, Fanny.
How nice to see you.
Nice
are
to
you
see
doing garden talk anywhere, like your own show, your own radio show?
No, I'm on with Bill Good.
Right.
We do that once about every month or so, and we talk about all sorts of gardening things, topics for the moment, yeah.
And when you reflect at night over a beer, what are the questions you are asked most often? What confuses people in the garden business?
Oh, it's amazing.
How to plant, how to prune?
Everybody has their own issue. Pruning is probably the most complicated for people. They're scared.
Right.
And it's probably one of the most important things in the garden to do.
Really?
Absolutely, and in fact, everyone thinks sort of winter pruning, right? Winter, I got to get out there and prune my stuff because that's the time I'm supposed to prune. I take more product out of my garden. I do more pruning in the summer months, particularly June and July, than any other month. I take buckets. I have 4 garbage cans for recycling of debris that go out every week through June and July, and they're always filled.
So you are sort of a mad pruner.
Well, yes. I'm mad.
You're mad pruner.
Yeah,
but as you know, we are afraid. But are you pruning like rhododendrons and wisteria and all of that, or what are you pruning?
You know, evergreens for sure, like the coniferous type, like your hedges, like any cedar hedges. Great time to prune, June or July.
Okay.
I prune a lot of my broadleaf evergreens, like Photinia or the Pyrrhus japonica, the lily of the valley shrubs, things like that. They need to be pruned hard. There is things you wouldn't prune. You wouldn't probably prune your rhododendron or your azaleas because you'll be pruning off your blossoms. They should be done earlier. But for the most part, things that right when they finish blooming is a great rule of thumb. But the summer months, shade trees, fruit trees is very important. Your grapes. There's so many things that need to be pruned through the summer months.
We should do a show on it sometime because where to prune.
Where to prune.
You know, above what? You look for the little knot, and do you prune below or above the little knot in the branch?
Right. We need a separate show.
We need a separate show.
We'll take an entire week. It'll be a week.
Exactly.
Program.
I like your gloves.
Thank you.
Obviously, you're up to something. Okay. Where are we going to start?
Well, I brought in a herb pot. And
I noticed.
It's kind of like a strawberry pot. And this isn't well recognized because it's a newer item on the market. It's got the holes like the strawberry pot does.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is they're larger pockets and there's a larger center pocket. So herbs grow larger, so you need a little more space for them. And there's not as many pockets on this plant. But having brought this in, it's for display for the most part. But the nice thing is you can do this in any container. Sure. You don't have to use an herb pot for that. No. But it's a nice, attractive piece for the patio by far.
Okay, but it could just be a strawberry pot.
It could be a strawberry pot, or it could just be
an herb pot.
Yeah, or it could just be a pot. Any plant of any sort.
Absolutely.
Drainage and good soil. That's the key.
All right. And if you wanted to plant herbs in a long
planter type
thing, where do you start? For instance, here we have all the herbs.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would say there's a lot of herbs. There's a lot of herbs out there. One of the most popular growth categories in gardening. I mean, I just brought like a small little selection.
Right.
There's so many. But keep in mind, plant what you are going to use. There's no sense planting a parsley if you don't ever really use parsley.
Right, and it grows. I can grow parsley.
Good for you.
I'm not so good on the basil or the basil.
Well, we don't have the real climate for basil, but once the summer comes, then it can, and you can still do this now. Like planting now is no problem.
Okay.
But you need to do that. So, you know, I always say choose things that are beautiful looking. So, and a good example is
smelling.
I know. Well, the basil is almost a necessity in a herb planter for the aromatic smell just on your patio. But it's easily used in so many ways. But also you know, there's also this.
Do you want me to be helping?
Sure.
Or do you just want to grab? You just grab.
But the purple basil is very attractive.
Beautiful. Does it taste different than the green basil, or is it just the color? Same.
Not as intense. So I would probably, if you want something colorful, and it's good looking in salads too. So it's nice. It's a nice
and it needs sun, right?
Yeah. All herbs prefer mostly a sunny location, or at least need 4 hours for sure.
Too much sun, too little sun.
Well, the more sun they get, the better you'll have with regards to results.
Okay. What about water?
Well, watering is vitally important throughout the summer months. on all herbs. Winter is not a big deal. And there's perennial herbs and there's annual herbs. So you want to kind of keep that in mind too. Perennial being ones that will come back every year.
Right.
And there's ones like
rosemary.
Well, rosemary is a good example, as long as we don't have too harsh a winter.
Okay.
Let's grab him.
Okay.
And,
Him's good.
And
him's really good on chicken.
I mean, everyone thinks rosemary is rosemary. This little foxtail rosemary is, you kind of see it looks kind of a little more flat. It doesn't have sort of that upright growth habit. That's because this one doesn't.
Okay.
This one actually is
called
a
foxtail?
creeper. This one's foxtail. And it's more of a creeper. And I like using him sort of out the side of a, I'm making a mess again, aren't I? I don't know,
Yeah, you always do.
Studio 4. Oh, well.
You always do, but we have a cleaner.
Handy. Well, and
do you, when you take that out, don't you scrunch the roots a little bit if you were really,
unless they were really very, really tight within the pot, then I would consider that, but otherwise don't worry about scrunching up
so
the
you've
roots
got the basil, you've got the rosemary.
Yeah. So, and the rosemary, I mean, is a good one because it can be used in so many ways. But keep in mind as well, when you're putting the planter together, I always like to think color as well. You like the oregano.
Well, don't you think?
Yeah,
or this one, either or. That's
Let's start with oregano.
Okay.
Most
that's a light
oreganos,
oregano.
It's a golden
Blonde.
oregano. Golden.
Gold. Okay.
It's a golden oregano, and it's nice because of that color. It's a beautiful color over and above the basic green. Flavors, there is different flavors in oregano, but the golden is very similar to your green oregano, the most common.
Right. So we're going to make an Italian dinner tonight. I can tell. Got oregano, we have rosemary, we got basil.
Yeah,
yum.
Pretty. So it's very nice. So you got.
So that will make that not grow as much because it's in a smaller spot.
You're right. You're semi-bonsai.
Getting pretty smart about this garden.
All these years of training is paying off.
Oh, exactly. Not.
But even for the patio, I mean, rub your hands up that, and then smell that. I mean, that just has.
It's curry.
It's curry.
Really?
Isn't that great? And that gives you an evening smell of curry on the patio if you like curry.
I love curry.
It's a great one to use. So
and you use it like in Indian food or when you want curry?
When you
really?
want curry,
so you just pinch it off?
Pinch it off. You can dry it, slice it up. You can saute it with vegetables. Many ways to use it. So, but it's an attractive plant because you've got the silvery colored foliage.
It's beautiful.
Which makes a nice attraction
for
the planter as well.
Sure.
So we won't put curry in this one.
No, that would stand alone, I would think.
Yeah, you could put that in.
And do you plant with flowers too? Like some pansies and some curry or that kind of thing? Is that called companion planting or,
you can companion plant flowers
on the
and
farm,
herbs.
you have the zinnias and the corn in the garden together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Often, in fact, planting some flowers with some of your vegetables will help them because you're going to be attracting some bees that are going to then pollinate the flowers of your vegetables. Not so much for herbs, but something to keep in mind.
So what else would you like, sir?
Well, using
now
things.
Now that I'm helping.
Well, okay, take off a little leaf there.
All right.
And now eat it.
Eat it?
Yep.
Did you wash it?
It's been washed. I lied.
Oh, yeah.
She fell for that. This is a
mint.
chocolate
It's got chocolate in it.
Isn't that neat? It's a chocolate mint.
Stop.
Isn't that crazy, right? So this chocolate mint,
crazy.
You can use in any way, shape, or form. I mean, use your imagination.
Chocolate mint.
Mints are neat to use for mojitos if you like the mojito drink. But there's so many different ways you can use mint in cooking. But having the chocolate flavored mint is kind of cool.
Does it grow as fast as other mint?
No, it's not as
mint
vigorous.
can go wild.
Mint can grow
in the yard,
wild,
like chives.
So we're going to place him in the side. He's sort of a creeper too, so we're going to put him sort of
wonderful. So
off
put the creepers in the little side part.
That's right.
And okay, we're getting down to chives.
Chives,
No, they should be alone somewhere off in the side.
You could. You don't have to. The nice thing about chives is they're used. I mean, you can use chives in everything.
All the time.
So I like keeping him, and if you don't have your own, separate pot for him, he's actually nice to include because he actually adds a unique look to the planter too. You know how grasses are so popular?
For sure.
Chives are nice in that way too. Now I've got
organic soil.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No, most soils are organic to begin with anyway, so not too much of an issue.
Okay.
And then
fertilizer.
Fertilizer is important, and I always like to use sort of some organic fertilizers if possible. The fish fertilizers and seaweeds in particular are great because they are more easily digested by plants. There's micronutrients, minerals that you don't get in traditional fertilizers. So
that we have one empty pocket.
One empty pocket, and we have our choice there. This lavender I would probably put in top. The nice thing about using lavender is you get the beautiful, colorful flower,
too.
and the evening smell again is great.
Smell, how lovely.
So you can make yourself sort of an attractive-looking planter.
So maybe
so
that.
parsley
no,
is probably.
I don't know if that looks right there. We're going to have to go back to the...
It's up to you. Purple basil or the curry?
Purple basil would be lovely. No, I think the curry should stand alone somehow.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I agree. Let's go with that.
I'm not a decorator.
Let's go
but
with that. It
I'm
works.
telling you, because that gives a little color and it's all lovely.
And basil is so popular, right? So
look, and you're just Mr. Messy Pants
today.
today.
I know, I'm kind of making a lot
telling
of
you.
things. But here you have yourself not only a nice looking planter, but a very functional planter.
No, really great. Now, do you, if you obviously use these when we cook, of course. But if you don't, say you're away, you just clip, clip, clip so that they get better and better.
Keep pruning your herbs.
Pruning.
And if you don't need it right away and the thing's getting too big, chop up your basil, put it into little ice cube trays, and then freeze it, and you can put them in bags in your freezer, and you can bring them and put them in your pots and stews or whatever, or soups, whatever you like to do.
Why not? How nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Fanny.
Happy summer.
You too.
The sun is here, right?
Here to stay, I guarantee
The gardener
it.
said so, right?
Trust me.
Okay, Wim Vander Zalm from Art Knapp's Plantland.